Put them in the same yard. Right now, in your head. A cane Corso on one side, 110 pounds of Italian muscle, cropped and quiet, bred by Roman farmers to run down wild boar and hold them until the hunter arrived. A Kangal on the other, 140 pounds of Turkish livestock guardian, bred not to attack anything but to end a wolf that made the wrong choice near the flock. Two dogs, two completely different job descriptions, and every comment section on Earth screaming a different answer. I'm going to actually settle this, and the answer is not the one either fanbase wants. Here's the first thing that ruins the clean argument. These dogs were never built to fight each other. That sounds like a cop-out. It isn't. It's the whole key. The Corso is an aggressor. Its entire genetic history is about closing distance fast and latching onto something that's trying to escape. The Kangal is a deterrent. Its history is about standing between a threat and a flock and refusing to move. One is built to start the encounter. The other is built to survive it. And survival, in a real confrontation, wins more often than aggression does. Hold that thought, because everything comes back to it. Let's do bite force, since that's the number everyone opens with. The Kangal is frequently cited around 700 psi, and it shows up near the top of nearly every serious bite force list. The Corso lands lower. Most estimates put it around 650, some lower still. Now, I don't fully trust these numbers, and neither should you. A lot of PSI figures floating around online trace back to a small number of measurements on very few individual dogs, sometimes not even the breed being claimed. So treat 700 versus 650 as directional, not gospel. But directional still matters, and the direction points at the Kangal. Bigger head, wider jaw attachment, more mass driving the bite. Physics doesn't care about which dog looks scarier in slow motion. Size is where it stops being close. A large male Kangal can push past 140 pounds and stand over 30 inches at the shoulder. A large Corso tops out around 110, maybe 120 on a big one, and stands shorter. That's a 20 to 30 pound gap between two animals that are both mostly muscle and bone. In any collision sport, and a dog confrontation is a collision sport, that weight advantage translates directly into leverage. The heavier animal moves the lighter one, not the reverse. Wrestlers know this. Boxers know this. It's why weight classes exist. Nobody puts a middleweight against a heavyweight and calls it fair. And that's roughly the gap we're describing here. But raw size isn't the whole fight. And this is where the Corso fans have a real argument. So let me give it to them honestly. The Corso is faster off the line. It's a gripping breed. It doesn't just bite. It bites and holds and shifts its grip to do damage. In the first few seconds of an encounter, a Corso's explosiveness is genuinely dangerous. If a Corso lands first and lands well, it can absolutely hurt a Kangal badly before the size gap ever comes into play. That's not fanboy cope. That's real. The question is, what happens after those first few seconds? And that's where it turns, because the Kangal doesn't panic. This is the part that gets left out of every strongest bite video. The Kangal was bred to face wolves, animals faster and more lethal than any Corso, and to keep functioning while injured, at night, alone, with no handler coming to help. Pain tolerance and psychological steadiness under attack are baked into the breed at a level the Corso simply wasn't selected for. A Corso is brave, but a Corso was bred to work with a human present, in a hunt, with backup. The Kangal was bred to be the backup that never arrives, standing alone. When the fight goes past the opening exchange and into the grind, the dog that was engineered for the grind has the edge, every time. Let me be fair to the numbers again, because I keep hearing one specific counter and it deserves an answer. The Corso has a stronger neck. It's more compact. It's built for gripping. True, compact leverage is real, and in a pure grappling sense, the Corso is well designed for latching on. But gripping only wins if you can get the grip and keep it against a heavier animal that's actively shaking you off. On a 140-pound Kangal, a Corso's grip has to overcome 30 extra pounds of thrashing mass. It's the difference between holding on to a person versus holding on to someone bigger who really doesn't want to be held. Doable in theory, much harder in practice. Now here's where I break from both sides, and this is the part I actually care about. The honest answer to which one wins is it depends on who commits first and how the first 3 seconds go. And even saying that, if I had to bet the same matchup 100 times, I'd put my money on the Kangal winning the clear majority. Not because the Corso is weak, because size, bite, and psychological durability are 3 separate advantages, and the Kangal holds all 3. The Corso holds speed and aggression, which are real, but only decisive if the fight stays short. Stretch it past the opening, and the odds tilt hard. But I want to zoom out, because which dog wins a fight is a genuinely stupid question to organize your life around, and I'd be lying if I pretended otherwise. If you're choosing between these two as an owner, which is what actually matters, the fight is the least useful frame possible. A Corso is more dog-aggressive, more prey-driven, more likely to be the one starting things at the dog park, and it bonds intensely to a single household in a way that's incredible if you train it early, and a nightmare if you don't. A Kangal is more independent, more likely to ignore your commands because it was bred to make its own calls, and needs space and ideally a job. It is not a suburban backyard dog, no matter how many videos make it look like one. So who wins? In the fight nobody should actually stage, the Kangal, more often than not, on size, bite, and the refusal to break. In the choice that actually matters, the one where you bring one of these animals into your life, neither wins by default, because the right answer depends entirely on whether you have the space, the experience, and the years of training either one demands. Get that part wrong, and it doesn't matter which breed would have won a fight. You've already lost the only contest that counts. That's the uncomfortable truth under the whole debate. Everybody wants to know which dog is stronger. Almost nobody wants to ask whether they're strong enough to handle either. That's the uncomfortable truth under the whole debate. Everybody wants to know which dog is stronger. Almost nobody wants to ask whether they're strong enough to handle either. And honestly, most people asking who wins have never walked either breed at 6 a.m. in the rain for the 3rd year in a row. That's the real test, not the one in the yard.